All right, let's dive in. Today, we're going to tackle a really big idea. What happens when your workforce isn't just, well, human? We're taking a close look at Salesforce Agentforce to understand how companies are building and using autonomous AI agents to get real work done.
So let's just start with a question, one that I bet every single person running a business has thought about at some point. What if you could design the absolute perfect employee right from the ground up? What would they even be like? For starters, they'd probably work 24/7, right? No sleep, no coffee breaks needed. They would have this perfect, instant memory of all your company's data, every single bit of it. But here's the kicker. They would take care of all the boring, repetitive, routine tasks that just eat up your team's day. That would free up your people to do the stuff that really matters. The strategic thinking, the creative problem solving, the relationship building. That's the high-value work that actually moves the needle.
So that perfect employee we just dreamed up, well, that's pretty much the core idea behind Agentforce. And we're not just talking about another piece of software here. Salesforce is positioning this as a true digital labor platform, a whole new way to grow your team and fundamentally change how work gets done.
So what exactly is an AI agent in this new world? Well, it's an application, sure, but it's an autonomous and proactive one. And those two words, autonomous and proactive, are absolutely key. It's not just sitting there waiting for a command. It's designed to use large language models to truly understand a request, reason through the best way to solve it, and then actually act on your business data to finish the job. Okay, I know exactly what you're thinking right now. Hold on, we've had chatbots for years. Isn't this just the same old tech with a shiny new name? It's a fair question, and it's a really important one. So let's just tackle that head on. Well, when you put them side by side, the difference is just night and day. A traditional chatbot, it follows a script. It's got a bunch of pre-cooked responses, and the second you ask something it doesn't expect, it gets stuck and has to hand you off to a human. An Agentforce agent is built for autonomy. It can think its way through complicated, multi-step problems. And maybe the biggest deal of all, it actually learns and adapts from its interactions. It gets smarter over time without someone having to manually update its code. It's a massive leap forward. The brains behind the agent. So that's the big question, right? How does this thing actually think for itself? Let's pop the hood and see what's going on inside. At the heart of it all is something called the Atlas Reasoning Engine. It works through this four-step process that basically mimics how you or I would solve a problem. First, it evaluates the request to figure out what the user really wants. Then it goes and grabs all the data it needs from everywhere, from Salesforce, from Data Cloud, even from external APIs. And then, and this is the magic trick right here, it actually builds a dynamic, step-by-step plan to solve the problem. Finally, it just goes and does it. It executes the plan all by itself to get the job done. Okay, but let's be real. Giving an AI this much power and freedom, that immediately brings up a huge question. Can you actually trust it? The whole approach here is that trust can't be something you bolt on at the end. It has to be baked in from the very beginning, with safety features turned on by default. And this is done using guardrails that are always on. The best way to think about them is like, well, guardrails on a highway. They're there to keep the agent on the right path. They stop it from straying from its main job. They block weird or inappropriate conversations, and they actively work to reduce common AI problems like making stuff up or hallucinating and bias. They're even on the lookout for security issues like prompt injection attacks. It's all about making it safe by design.
Agents in the wild. All right, so that's the tech. That's the theory. But what does this actually look like out in the wild? Let's see how these agents can totally change the game for a business. I mean, the possibilities are just huge. Just picture this, a customer service agent that's not just deflecting calls, but actually resolving tickets and managing orders like instantly. Or think about a sales development rep that works 24/7, answering product questions, qualifying leads, and booking meetings, which could totally boost your win rates. You can even have agents working behind the scenes, doing deep research and crunching data so your human team always has the most up-to-date info. And here's the best part. You're not starting from scratch. You don't have to build this thing from a single line of code. Agentforce comes with a bunch of pre-built agents you can just grab, customize, and get running super quickly. Whether you need a service agent, a sales rep, a sales coach, or even an e-commerce merchandiser, there's a template ready and waiting for you. And that brings us to maybe the most important point of all. This isn't some crazy, out-of-reach technology. It's designed for you.
The whole idea is that if you already know how to use Salesforce, you've got the skills you need to start building these agents yourself.
So when you build an agent, it's not this big, scary thing. It's really just 5 simple pieces. First, you define its role. What's its job? Booking appointments, answering questions. Then you tell it what data sources to use. Next, you give it actions it can perform, like running a Salesforce flow or updating a record. You set the guardrails, its rules of the road. And finally, you pick the channels. Where is this agent going to live? On your website? In Slack? It's a really straightforward and logical process.
And check out this quote from a Salesforce demo, because it just nails the difference. There are no dialogue trees, just natural language descriptions that help the agent understand the job to be done. I mean, anyone who's ever tried to build an old-school chatbot knows the nightmare of those branching dialogue trees. Here, you're not doing that. You're just talking to it. You're telling it what its job is in plain English. It's a total game changer. And you're going to be building all of this using the tools you probably already use every day. You've got the low-code agent builder, you can plug in your existing Salesforce flows, and if you need some serious horsepower, you can bring in Apex, JavaScript, and MuleSoft APIs. It all means you're building on the skills in the platform you've already invested in. So what's the big picture here? What does this mean for the future of your team? Is everyone's job on the line? No, this isn't about some AI takeover. It's about creating a totally new kind of teamwork where humans and AI work side by side. And this is the core message, right here. Agentforce is designed to augment your team, not replace it. The AI takes on the predictable, repetitive, high-volume work, which frees up your people to focus on the messy, complex, creative, and empathetic stuff that humans are just uniquely good at. It really is a partnership. When you boil it all down, the whole strategy is about 3 things. 3 A's. Augment your team's skills, automate your business processes, and accelerate your company's growth. So I'll leave you with this one final thought. This stuff isn't science fiction anymore. It's here now. So the real question for you and your business is this. What's the very first mind-numbing routine task you would hand off to your brand new digital employee? And what amazing things could your team accomplish with all that time back? Thanks for tuning in.